Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everything going out there? I'm just getting organized here. So, we're going to talk about some stuff here. The first thing I want to do is reiterate the rules of my groups. People don't seem to think and hear and listen to me when I explain things. If you want to join my groups, you must be on my friends list. Why? Because I want to make sure there's no sales of any products except for Tracy's legal CBD products. That's it. Nobody sells anything else on any of my groups or pages. You will be blocked, you will disappear, you'll never see me, except on YouTube. So, if those two people from last week are watching this on YouTube, here's the deal. The first one came from the Kratom community and told me I didn't know shit about Kratom and proceeded to bitch me out after I made friends and got her in the group. We talked for most of the day and then she turned bitch and blocked me. Fine. And called me a pothead. Potheads get stoned. I don't. I don't even feel my morphine. Just my reduction in pain, like I've told everybody over and over and frickin' over again. I also want to shout out to the President Trump, medical marijuana growth, industrial hemp growth, trillions and trillions of dollars, millions of jobs, revenue for the government, fix our debt, build the wall, take care of our infrastructure with industrial hemp. Doug Ducey, governor of Arizona. Arizona Farmers Collective got together and started a bill that went through the state house and senate almost unanimously for growing hemp in Arizona instead of cotton. Cotton uses everything poisonous. Pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, and defoliants. And it poisons the earth. Okay? Cannabis and hemp do not. Cannabis and hemp heal the earth and the soil and the groundwater. And they clean the air even. And they give us 4 times the oxygen of trees. Comparable acre by acre. 4 times better than trees and 8 times better than cotton. Not to mention the clothing from hemp is almost indestructible. We have disposable clothes today, and it's $1 billion industry, $1 trillion maybe, across the world. You know, everybody's into fashion. Well, hemp fashion can work. Hemp is just great. Doug Ducey, you screwed the pooch, okay? And I voted for you, because I thought you wouldn't do shit like this. Okay, we've got a medical marijuana program here already. What's wrong with industrial hemp? Are you in the pockets of big cotton pharmaceuticals and all them? Are you? Yeah? Because lately, ever since Doug Ducey shot down hemp in Arizona, commercials have been started on TV for cotton and the petroleum industry. They never did commercials before. Very few and far between, but all of a sudden, Arizona farmers wanted to start growing hemp. Medical marijuana is becoming legal in half the country, and recreational in half of that half. And cotton and the petroleum industry are blowing out the airwaves with, wear cotton. Oil does this, oil does this. And then you show people with prosthetic limbs, Yes, all those plastics from oil can be made from hemp, and they are more indestructible than the plastic. Hemp-based plastics beat oil-based plastics. hemp biodiesel, ethanol, or methanol beats out corn ethanol and gasoline and diesel. And it emits oxygen instead of smut and smog. Okay? We need to grow it. So, Doug Ducey, reconsider. Okay? We need hemp here. It will heal Arizona, and it will provide jobs and revenue, and it will be for the health of the people. Okay, everything here in Arizona, even my salve, is right down here on the label. Arizona Department of Health Services, right on the label. And why? Because this is made in Arizona. Questions? There's a 520 number. That's Arizona. Everything in Arizona for medical marijuana is grown here and made here. Kratom comes from Thailand, Malaysia, Myanmar, which is Burma. Guess what? Those are three of the many countries that have banned Kratom use. So what do? They send it to us. This is a legitimate cartel. Okay? Because when I get into telling you about Kratom, you might think differently about some things. Okay? And when at the ports of entry, Dago, LA, Frisco, Oakland, Portland, all those ports, they get Mitragena loads by the ton. And it's supposed to be all yellow leaf with red vein, okay, for example. They take samples from in it, around it, all over. They take different samples. They find differing alkaloid profiles in the same load. Even leaves on the same tree are not all alike. That's not true with cannabis and hemp. Now, cannabis and hemp contain nitrogenous compounds, but they don't contain nitrogen. And in not containing nitrogen, there are no alkaloids. What are alkaloids, you ask? Well, they are very complex chemical structures that attach to the opiate receptors in our brains. So, those people out there that are in the Kratom community and have told me I should try Kratom, morphine sulfate, very high alkaloid profile. Oh, in fact, it matches the profile of many of the alkaloids in Kratom. The one known reported death in the U.S. was from a result of Kratom with diphenhydramine and fentanyl added to it. Okay, fentanyl is another opiate. This caused an opiate overdose. Kratom and opiates do not belong together. Do not take them together. Do not take an opiate and then drink Mitragena tea. Don't. You are risking your health. The nitrogen in Kratom creates alkaloids. And these alkaloid profiles are wide variance. Like I said, there's just a wide variance in the same load from the same tree. You get different amounts of the drug. Doesn't happen with cannabis. Cannabis is grown, hybridized, specialized. Okay? All except the illegal growers. The legal growing, okay, and the legal dispensaries are doing it right. And that's how Kratom should be. It should be regulated by the state Department of Health. Because that's who takes care of medical marijuana. The Department of Health and Human Services. Okay? Or the Arizona Department of Health here. I got a thing on medical marijuana and byproducts. And it says right here, the chemistry of cannabis is quite complex and the isolation and extraction of the active ingredients difficult even today. This is from 2009 and some of it was from 2004. So, but they have isolated everything. But of the 400 chemicals in marijuana, only 61 of these are unique to the cannabis plant, and they're called cannabinoids. Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, was isolated and synthesized in 1964 and is clearly the most pharmacologically active. Now take note that the relationship of THC in cannabis is probably more similar to the relationship of mescaline to peyote than of alcohol to beer, wine, or spirits. Alcohol is the only behaviorally active agent in alcoholic beverages. But there are several active agents in cannabis. Now, 483 different identifiable constituents known to exist, okay, with 66 known cannabinoids. Other constituents of the cannabis plant are nitrogenous compounds, not nitrogen, nitrogenous. Amino acids, proteins, glycoproteins, enzymes, sugars, related compounds, hydrocarbons, cannabinoids, simple alcohols, aldehydes, ketones, simple acids, fatty acids, simple esters, lactones, steroids, terpenes, non-cannabinoid phenols, flavonoids, vitamins, pigments, and elements. Elements, hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, the elements, the table, the periodic table. I have it on my phone. But comparing it to Kratom, one leaf, one special leaf ground up, make a tea. You might use a tablespoon or whatever in your tea, and it might give you a cocaine-like feeling. Uplifting, okay, happy, dancing, yeah, party, yay, okay. Just a little bit too much of the exact same leaf has a completely opposite effect, and it affects the opioid receptors in your brain exactly like morphine and heroin. These are the alkaloids, okay? So people that are already on opiates think you're already throwing alkaloids in your body. I'm fighting it off by using cannabis. Cannabis fights off the alkaloid profile of Kratom. So I'm not going to try Kratom because it is a risk of overdose. Because it acts on my opioid receptors, and I'm taking 240 milligrams of morphine sulfate daily. I have to watch my shit. So I'm not going to do Kratom. And you can argue it all you want. But what I see is bad, bad, bad. Now, the alkaloids and their effects. I got this from emcdda.europa.eu, European Union. Now, the same concoction of leaves in a small dose mimics codeine or cocaine, but just a little too much, OD is possible by hyperstimulation of your opioid receptors. Regular Kratom users tend to lose weight, are tired, they have constipation, alkaloids, opiate receptors. opioid-induced constipation, and hyperpigmentation of the skin. Permanent. These are permanent blotches that appear on your face and cheeks. Slightly toxic to animals, where pot is not. Okay, they've killed a lot of rats and mice in the laboratories studying kratom. Now, regular users can become dependent. They say people can become dependent on pot, but you know what? I went through withdrawal with cocaine. I went through withdrawal with heroin back in the day. I went through withdrawal on OxyContin back in 2013. All of this was done without cannabis. I got through it. I don't get withdrawal from weed. I've started and stopped weed throughout my life. And whenever somebody would come over to my house and say, let's toke one, I got one. Okay, phew, that's it. We smoked one together, boom. I might not smoke anymore for a couple of years. Well, now I'm smoking it regularly every day. Vapes, passion, I got all my ground up, I've got all my flavors, okay? And I have more flavors than Kratom does. And I have the ability of smoking and smoking and smoking as much as I want. Because I don't react with the opioid receptors in my head because there's hydrocarbons, not alkaloids. Hydrocarbons do not affect the opioid receptors or the autonomic nervous system, meaning heart rate, blood pressure, things like that, breathing. Those are autonomically controlled. Cannabis does not affect them. If you get short of breath, you have lung problems. Okay? That's just, if you have bad side effects off of weed, you have problems. And you try different strains of weed and you'll probably cure those problems. I do not see Kratom as a cure. I see it as a stopgap for pain for people. But when it comes down to dependence, withdrawal symptoms, and it says the withdrawal symptoms in humans are relatively mild and last about a week. But they consist of craving, weakness, lethargy, anxiety, restlessness, rhinorrhea, totally runny nose, you just can't stop running, myalgia, nausea, sweating, muscle pain, jerky movements of the limbs, tremors, sleep disturbances, and hallucinations. Wow, look at that fucking purple pig in the floor. Concomitant use with other drugs can provoke serious side effects. And some of those dangerous to use with Kratom are carisoprodol, I took that, modafinil, polyhexagreen, and deuterostramonium have been reported as very serious side effects when used with Kratom. Unregulated manufacturers of these things add stuff. And there's no regulation, so they don't have to tell you the ingredients. The cannabis shops here, the dispensaries in Arizona, do. Okay? They give you a warning. And they tell you the ingredients. Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. Sunlight, air, dirt. That's it. That's all cannabis needs. The Mitragina trees, same thing, I guess. They grow wild. But think about it. Almost all of the countries where the Mitragina tree grows have banned it. They have banned the use of it. We see a fatal case arrived in the U.S. involving a blend of kratom, fentanyl, diphenhydramine, caffeine, and morphine sold as an herbal drug. And like I said, there's no ingredients because it's unregulated. That makes it inherently dangerous to the population. And when a country bans a plant because of dangerous effects, yet they import that plant to another country, isn't that like a drug pusher? Think. Okay, so other names. There was Kratom, Kakwam, Tang or Tom in Thailand, Biak Biak in Malaysia, and Mambog in Philippines. Now, the typical potency, the chemical composition in commercial products is unspecified, and it depends on the factors of variety, age of the plant, environment, time of harvest. So many different ways for you to get sick off of kratom. And these alkaloids are not in the schedule of narcotics. Yet they should be because they do act like opiates and should be on Schedule 1 narcotics. Because of the alkaloid profile and because it works like an opiate, it needs to be Schedule 1. I'm sorry, guys out there in the kratom community, that's my opinion from what I see. And you can't change my mind. I have done this research and I have found the proof, and these are all dedicated. This is the Mayo Clinic. They know. The Centers for Disease Control, they know. Okay? The average person who reads about kratom in a book and buys some leaves and makes his own tea does not know. Okay? Just learning a recipe does not make you a cook. Okay? There's a lot more to it. And it's the same thing with using something as a medicine. Okay? You've really got to really study into it to really get what you want out of it. That's how crack began. First it was cocaine, then people started rocking it up with baking soda, and then they started freebasing and making crack. Crack cocaine, you could hide it in your mouth, and it wouldn't dissolve. It only dissolves in heat. That's what crack does. Okay, regular cocaine, you put it in your mouth, the rock, it'll melt. But that's what crack was. Okay? And it was very highly addictive because it was very highly concentrated and unregulated. You never know what you were going to get from one batch to the next. That makes a drug uncertain. Now, medical marijuana. I post these strains of the day. And those strains tell the truth. They tell you what you're going to feel. They tell you how you'll feel. And they show you what kind of things. Relaxed, happy, euphoria, pain, whatever. Okay? They tell you all that. You cannot do that with kratom because there's no regulation. So, in my opinion, kratom needs to be controlled, tested, commercially produced to ensure consistency in the quality. And with so many different ways of this plant's alkaloids, to me, it is not a fun ride, and I'd not recommend it to anyone who uses it regularly. I would say switch to cannabis. If you can't get cannabis, try something else. Try the hemp oil. But don't do kratom. It's scary. It sounds very scary to me, and I'm educated enough to see this in my research. Now, so the research has found over 20 biologically active chemicals in kratom, including several that bind with the opioid receptors in the brain and have the potential to lead toward physical dependence and addiction. Though used for centuries in Southeast Asia, kratom abuse is high, and it's been banned in Thailand, Malaysia, and Burma due to its addictive potential. And some chemicals found in kratom interfere with drug metabolizing enzymes in the liver and may cause dangerous interactions with other drugs or medications. Like I said, if you add it to opiate therapy, you're doubling up. And that's a dangerous, dangerous road to take. So if you're taking morphine, Oxycontin, fentanyl, do not use Kratom. You're risking death. And if you're taking other drugs like crisoprodol and stuff like that, think they can interact. And you've got to do your research, because when you get your drug information pamphlet in the box of medication, it doesn't specifically say Kratom. It tells you don't take it with NSAIDs, this and that, and opiates. Well, Kratom should be listed in the opiates. So when you read the drug information pamphlet and they tell you what not to take with it, and if it says opiates, do not use Kratom, because it's an opioid. KratomFreak.com comparing Kratom to cannabis. They both help pain, anxiety, and motivation. Short-term effects are complex and variable, and a balance of stimulant or opiate-like depending on the dosage. Different users have reported different effects with the same dose. That's because it's differing. Even the same tree, say you take the tree and you harvest half the leaves today and say, we'll come back tomorrow. The other half of the leaves have changed to where they're not like the ones you've took off the day before. Makes sense? Does to me. So, stimulant effects are like amphetamines, but less intense at low doses, and includes increased energy and alertness, decreased appetite, increased sociability, heightened libido. Sounds like ecstasy. Moderate dosage hours of opiate-like effects, analgesia, drowning or drowsiness, calm, dreamlike mental state, cough suppression, reducing symptoms of opiate withdrawal. To me, Kratom is like methadone. It's synthetic heroin to give to heroin addicts. Kratom should not be given with opiates therapy. Just remember that. Now, research of regular high-dose users in Thailand that suffered long-term effects such as the hyperpigmentation, the darkening of the facial skin, anorexia, weight loss, psychosis, and long-term users are at an ever-increasing risk of dependence and addiction. It's been banned everywhere it grows. And so far, U.S. states, Indiana, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Illinois, Louisiana, banned. Countries, Australia, Burma, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Lithuania, Malaysia, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Romania, South Korea, Sweden, Thailand, and Bulgaria. And they are proposing bans in Tennessee, Massachusetts, Arizona, Oklahoma, Wisconsin. So why does America allow the import of a drug when the home country that's sending it here has banned it? Something doesn't ring true. Something doesn't sound right. 100,000 Americans die each year from prescription drugs. That big pharma gets frickin' rich. This is one person every 5 minutes dying from the proper use of that drug. They follow the directions, and they take it as they're supposed to, and they die. What does Big Pharma say? Oh, sorry, we'll add that to the list of side effects. 65% of Americans take prescription medicines. In 2005, for example, $250 billion was spent. 65% of Americans spent $250 billion on prescription medications. Excuse me, I got stuff in my teeth. Pepper from something I ate last night. I should brush still. Okay. And it says here, Kratom effects may last a little longer than weed, but cannabis has the anti-inflammatory properties, where Kratom has been proven to be pro-inflammatory. And inflammation is one of the biggest problems with arthritis, bursitis, psoriatic arthritis, any joint disease, degenerative disc disease, all of those. I do not see Kratom as being, if it's regulated, if it's state by state regulated, or if it's federally regulated. But right now, almost half of this country is thinking of banning it, while half of this country has already legalized medical marijuana. What does that tell you? And weed has hundreds of varieties of flavors, and the consistency of the strains is key. There is consistency. Kratom has too many inconsistencies and too many different ways for people to mix it with things, like diphenhydramine. It's for sinuses, okay? If you take too much diphenhydramine, you get rhinorrhea. Your nose runs all the time because you were taking something to dry your nose up. Well, your nose reacts by trying to throw out more mucus. So the more diphenhydramine you take, the more your nose becomes addicted. I had this one guy I cooked with at Village Inn back in the day, back in the 80s, late 80s. He was addicted to Sinex. All through the shift. He's 3 bottles a day. And he says, my nose is always running. Well, yeah, because you're making it run. You're throwing all this crap in there and you continually dry it out. Your body reacts by producing more moisture. You've got to think about how your body is going to react. Because sometimes doctors don't even do that. And that's where you have to take a little bit of charge of your health care. Learn things. Looking at some cannabis stuff here. Okay. Yeah, as far as aside from cannabinoids, the only other compounds that were tentatively identified in vapor gas and solvated condensate were carotene and 2 other compounds of undetermined origin. THC accounted for 94.3% of the inferred estimated mass of vaporized marijuana. As I've said before, 94% of this stays in my lungs. The 6% that comes out dissipates quickly. Nobody gets a contact high. And you have to remember, let's just say, okay, Kratom, I'm just going to drop it now. What I've said is what I've got. The alkaloid profile, through my knowledge of chemistry and biological chemistry and all that, tells me that Kratom is a very dangerous substance to play with. And unless it's regulated, if it's regulated, then I'll be okay with it. But I still won't take it because of the possibility of opioid overdose. Okay? I do not want to risk an overdose. And if I go to my doctor and say, well, I've been taking Kratom, he's going to say, no more weed, no more morphine, no more nothing. Where will I be? You won't see me anymore. I'll be curled up in a ball on the couch, crying myself to sleep constantly, unable to move. I'm animated here, but what these videos do to me, if I go a 2-hour video, I end up taking a 4 to 5 hour nap. As it is, I'm going to take about a 2-hour nap today. But, so, that's it on Kratom. Okay? I do not want Kratom advertised on my groups. Why? Because, like I said, I don't like the alkaloid profile. The similarity to morphine makes it a very dangerous thing to play with. And like I said, so far these states have started to ban it, and countries have banned it. That should tell you something. Okay? And just wait. One day, when you start getting red rosy cheeks that don't ever fade, don't say I didn't tell you so. Hyperpigmentation of the face is one of the most common effects on your body of Kratom. So, Kratom is done. That one person I will just say is L that bitched me out and called me a pothead. Hey, you're a leaf head, okay? And you're using something that's unregulated, okay? Anybody could be throwing anything into it, unless you get the leaves right off the tree yourself, and you can figure out the potency yourself. Then you're fine, okay? But I don't want it on my group. My group is called Rick's Pain Group. That's for pain support. Patriot Up America, Poetry for Everyone. All my groups tell you what they're for. Now, Rick's Medical Marijuana Group does not look at Kratom or any other kind of natural stimulant or opiate-like plants. Strictly cannabis and hemp. Okay? I have a zero tolerance policy for arguments. Okay? Even if the arguments don't even happen on the group. I approved somebody Saturday. British, grows his own illegally. I won't mention his name. You know who you are. He sees my YouTube stuff. So does the Kratom person. Sorry. I kicked out the group and I blocked you because you called me names and told me I was stupid. No. And you're illiterate. I couldn't understand the shit you were writing. Be literate. If you're going to talk to me, write in language that I can understand. Okay? Try some basic English. I pride myself on my literacy, and I just wish people would respond in kind, because I sit there trying to decipher what people are thinking when they put an A where there's supposed to be an I. I feel, so they put an A. I feel this, or I feel theses. There's no theses. There's these. You don't add another S to it. Facebook is easy for everybody. Even people who can't read can get on Facebook and play around. I don't want them in the group. Okay, like I said about this British gentleman, I let him in, even though he's an illegal grower. I said, just don't talk about growing. Be nice. Play well with others. He proceeded down the path to a friend's profile and started to harangue her verbally. And she responded by, what? And he said, yeah, nah, and things escalated. Okay, and she sent me screenshots of this conversation. I immediately went to him and said, I'm sorry, but you're going to be blocked. I told you not to do things like this. Oh, I was just funning around. Don't fun around with a person until you know what their sense of humor is like. You have to ask them. You have to say. You have to meet people on Facebook and say, hi, what kind of things turn you off? What things don't you like? What kind of jokes don't you like? And somebody will say, I don't like jokes about race or religion. then please honor that for them. But to just get into a pissing contest with any members of my groups, I will kick you out of my group because it's for the legalization of marijuana and the support of chronic pain patients. This is not a frickin' stoner page, people. So stoners, stay away. If you're a legal medical marijuana patient, or if you're a chronic pain patient that wants legalized marijuana, welcome to the group. Love to have you. Okay? But if I let you in the group and in the same day you piss off me, and then the next day somebody else pissed off a friend, which pissed me off, you're gone. Yes, you'll see this on YouTube. Hi. You fucked up. That's it. I said work and play well with others. Okay? Don't insult people. And don't joke with a person unless you know what their sense of humor is. Okay? You might just know somebody by the name of Bob. Well, you don't know his name's Bob Steinman, and you tell him a Jewish joke. You just pissed him off. That's not how you make friends. That's not what Facebook is about. And Facebook is not about selling illegally weed either. Okay, it's for legal actions. That's why I keep my group tight. I'm the only admin. Because nobody else can add members that I have to then watch and make sure they don't screw her up. Okay? Because I will not stand for screw-ups in my groups. And I will not stand for you folks, my pain family, to be screwed with. If you have a problem, bring it to me. I will help mediate arguments, or I will block offending members. Okay? Because zero tolerance. If, like I said, both of these people, the same day, Friday, one person, talked to her most of the day, everything was okay, and then start putting me down, calling me a pothead. Thank you. I am. But I'm not a stoner. I smoke for pain. You take Kratom. And right now, with the opiate-like effects of the Kratom, that tells me you might not be in your right state of mind. You might have an opiate problem going on in your head. Think about it. Get tested. Okay? Go to your doctor and say, I want to see what kind of opiate alkaloids are in my body. They'll give you that test. Maybe your insurance will pay for it. Especially if they can find out if you're doing illicit drugs and kick you off the insurance plan, they'd love to do the test. So, discuss those two people. I will not put arguments, including saying things to others that aren't funny. Do not post comments on another member's profile page. I have no tolerance for assholes and disagreements, and I protect my family jealously. Now, users of Kratom have a higher risk of dependence, and no part of Kratom attaches to the immune system like cannabinoids do. Think. Morphine and Mitragina are similar in alkaloid profiles. And, like I said, my morphine is measured out into pills properly. They know what they're doing. They created the morphine. These leaves were created by nature, and they vary from the same tree, different day of harvest, slightly different color in the vein of the veins, because there's yellow vein, green vein, red vein, there's yellow leaf, red leaf, brown leaf, green leaf, whatever leaves. But there's different leaves, just like there's different varieties of cannabis. There's not as many, because cannabis has hundreds of different strains. Thousands even. Okay? People out there that are growing wild, they don't throw just all the same seed out. They just throw all the seeds they've got out there to grow. And these things cross-pollinate and turn into different plants with more potency to them most of the time. That's where high CBD strains come from. You know, if you plant all these sativa seeds and they cross-pollinate, you get all these different sativas that are very strong in their effects. And the same for the indicas, for the really stone part, okay, for the psychoactivity. Now, rules. There was this one lady on my poetry group a long time ago when I first opened it up. Okay, I started posting it. My rules were, this is for people to post their original poetry on this page. She had a link to a YouTube video of her reading poems out of her book. I said, please don't do that. Shoot the video and post it on the group. Don't take people away from the group. People are there to read poems, not to go to your page and read all of your stuff. Now, my page is all my stuff, but that's because I can't get anyone else to write. I wish people would. There's a lot of people that join, but they don't write. Write a poem for me. I'm at a dead end. I'm sharing poems from the last 3 years. You know, and there's a finite amount, but I can at least be fresh until next year and start. And next year I won't double any poems from this year. Let's see, what notes did I have here? Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, I want to talk about those people that are most dead set against the legalization usually have the most lobbyists. And the Surgeon General has to be able to exert some kind of control over the FDA, the DEA, and the pharmaceutical industry, because it's the health of the population of America. I think that's the Surgeon General's job. Okay? The Surgeon General's warning on a pack of cigarettes. Surgeon General's warning. The Surgeon General, looking out for the health of Americans, needs to look at this. This is better for me than these. I'm still hooked on these, but just a few. Debbie gives me just a few for the day. And she comes home by nighttime, I'll get a couple more. And then tomorrow I'll have the same. I try not to smoke them all. I even try to hide them from myself, so that I don't even think. Out of sight, out of mind. And then I've got my cigarette vape. Okay. Does the light up? Yeah. It's Camel Blend. Pretty good. It's from Freedom Smoke, USA. Now these vapes. The O-Pen. O-Pen, that way. Yeah. Very good. So, we talked about Kratom. I don't want it on my group. Please. You know who you are. I'm not putting you down for your Kratom. I'm just saying these are the things I've found out about it. And that is why I have reservations about it. Especially when it comes to the opiate part of it. Okay? It's a very dangerous thing, and you're playing a dangerous balancing act when you use something that it's not regulated. I know, I've smoked some weed back in the day when they were spraying the Colombian crops, but they would still sell it up here. And you could taste it. It was like a chemical taste. It was like, ugh. It made you feel sick. It was called paraquat. Anybody remember quat? Back in the 70s? Then you were right in my league. But it comes down to needing the FDA, the DEA, the big pharma, big oil, big lumber, plastics manufacturers, all need to be put on notice that they can still make their money. Okay? People are going to always want to choose polyester if they like polyester. Okay? If you look like a 70s porn star and wear polyester bell bottoms and the little button shirt open to here with the little Italian pepper horn. Remember those back in the disco days? Disco duck. And I'm not high. In fact, my morphine's wearing off and I'm getting into a lot of pain here. So I'm going to be smoking as soon as I start uploading this. Well, first I'm going to test to listen to it. I'm going to keep it at about an hour here. But I wanted to address Doug Ducey. Hemp farming in Arizona is the best freaking thing we could do. It's the best. Okay? And open up more farmland for dispensaries to be able to grow large amounts so that they have a goodly supply. I mean, my dispensary, I'll see their menu was updated at 10 o'clock, at 7 o'clock at night when they closed. I call them at opening, and half of the strains I want are gone before the first customer walked in the door. That's why I call them right at 10 o'clock, right as soon as they open. I talk to Aaron or whoever, and I say, I'd like to reserve my ounce now, because I won't get there until between 5 and 7 tonight. But that makes it really easy because I can tell them everything I want. All I want is a mixed ounce, 2 purple vapes, and 3 patches. I think that's all I'm getting. Where did I put it? I lost my pot. Anyway, patches, vapes. Yeah, 3 patches, 2 vapes, and an ounce. Oh, and 1 more salve. So I'll have 2 full ones on hand, always. But, that's it. That's about it for Kratom. The rules? You must be on my friends list. If you grow illegally, you do not talk about it on my group. You do not endanger any of my group by dragging them into illicit sales. Tracy Morgan Gibson with hempsavedme.com is the only authorized selling of products on my groups or pages. Okay? Somebody tried to slip this one thing in as a comment. You've got to remember something, everybody. I get a notification on every comment on my pages. Any page that I'm either an admin on or a group, and my groups, I get notified. I sometimes have 40 notifications when I wake up in the morning. So I see all. I know all. I am the great and all-powerful Oz. But that's it. I want my groups to run smooth. Right, Billy? We don't like arguments, do we, Billy? No. I'm just playing. I'm funning. But marijuana is something that you can have fun with. To me, Kratom does not sound fun. It sounds like people are using it to be able to work. And then also using heavier doses to control pain. Well, because of the opiate alkaloid profile, I consider it a very, very dangerous, unregulated drug, akin to cocaine and heroin in the 60s and 70s when it kicked off over here. Yes, sirree, Bob. Now on my groups, if you argue with me, we'll go to the messenger, we'll straighten things out. But if you don't want to be in the group, don't ask to join. If you don't want to be a positive voice for the legalization movement, don't join. If you try to sell illicit weed, fentanyl, ketamine, morphine, Klonopin, anything through the mail that is a controlled substance, you will not join. And I will find out because I'm the only admin, which means I have full autonomous control over my groups. I had some people I trusted as admins. Things didn't work out because they were starting to add their own friends who had nothing to do with medical marijuana. Nothing to do with it. Okay? Sure, I share my poems here. I shared my thing here about being an atheist last night, talking about just the nucleic acid signature of the DNA and how could God have done this, trillions and trillions of combinations of A, C, T, and G and these little twisty double helix strands that are microscopic, teeny tiny. It takes a geneticist to figure that out. Scientists. Everything. Science is a religion for me. Because I believe in it. I believe in the Big Bang. I can see it. They have pictures of it. They have radiograph images of our universe from edge to edge, showing that everything blew out from the middle. And when you look at our galaxy, the Milky Way, where we live, this big, huge galaxy, like this, well, imagine my head is the galaxy. We're right here. We're one little pore, like one pore of my face, is the Earth. And the Sun. And all the other 9 planets. All the 9 planets and the Sun are right there. And this galaxy is hundreds of thousands of light years across. A light year is, I think, 46 million miles an hour. That's light speed. That's the distance light travels in 1 year. When you think about the universe, when you look at science, do some scientific education right from Coursera.com or edX.com like I do. Research. Learn something new. You'd be amazed. The Big Bang happened. And I'm an atheist because of it. I look at Hawking and deGrasse Tyson and all these other scientists that I admire, and that's just the way I see it. So don't go off on me. I don't go off on people about their religion. I have a problem with the followers of Allah. Yes, there's no secret there. That's why I do not allow any Muslims in the group. Sorry. But marijuana is against their laws anyway. Think about it. They do not do, the only stimulant they take is their coffee and tea. Super, super strong, cooked down to a black syrupy thick. You just drink these little tiny demi-tasse cups and you get a buzz. But they're not supposed to drink. They're not supposed to use hash. But they fund Al-Qaeda with hashish and heroin. Do you know that? They're not supposed to do drugs or drink liquor. Okay? So, I won't let them in the group. When I see somebody's from Pakistan, Afghanistan, any of the Middle East, and half of their page is written in Arabic, you don't belong in my group. If you have chronic pain, I can put you in the pain group, but you don't belong in the medical marijuana group because it's against your religion. So I have to put that out there and say that that's the way it is. Allah says no drinking, no drugs. So I'm not letting you in my group. So you can't do anything about medical marijuana. If you want to do anything about medical marijuana, start with changing your country. Try what I'm doing. Tag the president. I'm going to tag my governor in this. And say, Doug Ducey, you screwed the pooch. We need to grow hemp. it's jobs, it's industry. If Arizona farmed hemp alone, we could make enough hempcrete here to build our wall along the Arizona border. And then Texas has more land where they can grow hemp and build their long border. And then Louisiana down in Florida. Just think about it. A multi-trillion-dollar crop. And we're blowing it off while we have a multi-trillion-dollar debt. And this debt also comes from a trade imbalance. You know, we send, let's say, $10 billion of merchandise a year to China. The Fair Trade Agreement, the NAFTA, okay, they're supposed to send us $10 billion in their products. Fine, they send us $10 billion in their products. They won't let us send $10 billion to them. It's an imbalance, and it's unfair, and our government lets it go. We let too many people walk on us, and we shouldn't. We should get back to the Revolutionary War times and think about getting this country on frickin' track. And growing hemp was a very, very big part of pre-revolutionary, revolutionary, all the way up to 1937. Hemp was a bumper crop with many, many uses. We need to use it again, Doug Ducey, President Trump. So, I run a medical marijuana group. I'm legal. That's my green card. You can't see my number, but that's my green card. Arizona Department of Health Services. That gives me the right to buy marijuana. Federal doesn't like it, but they can't touch my weed because the state laws supersede. And it's really time for me to get smoking here and shut this video down. I've already passed an hour. It's another cold pipe. You pack it like this, you go down into the bottle and just brush it off, and it's like easier. So, I have to go around and get things done, and I'm going to have to take a nap. I am getting tired, as you can see. My morphine's worn off. I'm in a lot of pain. Take another pill, lay down. Oh, sorry. Little piece caught me off guard there. I get the pot really raws my throat out. That's why I do the vape. For those of you who are afraid of smoke, vaping is safe. Perfectly safe. Safer than buds. And buds are the safest things in nature. Okay? It all comes down to natural products. Kratom is a natural product. It has an alkaloid profile that mimics opiates. It makes that a dangerous plant. Cannabis has no nitrogen, so no alkaloids. It is made up of hydrocarbons called cannabinoids, flavonoids, terpenoids, smells, aromas, vitamins, minerals, elements. Safe. Mitragina speciosa is iffy. Cannabis has been proven. We need to legalize cannabis. We need to regulate kratom. We need to grow industrial hemp. Put people to work. Build your wall, Mr. President, and Doug Ducey. Get this goddamn country back on track. Okay? We're going off the rails of the crazy train, like Ozzy says. Okay? We've gone off the rails. And things are just frickin' ridiculous. And I'm glad to see the Justice Department didn't get a dime to interdict medical marijuana. Because that is so wrong. You don't give people a right like that and then you take it away just because you don't like it. It has nothing to do with you liking shit. You're supposed to be fair and impartial to your constituents. That's what a politician is supposed to do. But, alas, it is a very, very rare thing that we see nowadays. Too many people have too many lobbyists and too many hands and too many pockets getting paid off to shoot down bills that would help heal people of cancers, hundreds of other diseases. The planet itself could be healed by hemp. And we have to get over the fact that weed gets somebody high. And they think hemp does too. Hemp does not. That's why it's legal to sell in all 50 states through the mail. From Tracy at hempsavedme.com. And as far as my groups, bring me people. Do not bring me people who are going to argue with me and call me stupid. Okay? I'm too intelligent to put up with shit like that. I want my groups to run smooth and I don't want arguments. You want to make your feelings known on a subject? Fine. Okay? But that subject has to be medical marijuana related or somewhat related to things like that. Because it's the purpose of my groups to legalize weed across the country and the globe for friends I have overseas. And it is just wrong for this to continue to prohibit something that is so good. I don't know. What is this? I'm going to post this. I don't know why it was just sitting here. Ding! Why does cannabis produce cannabinoids? I think I might have shared that last night. Why does cannabis produce cannabinoids? No, I didn't. Oh, I think that's a post. I was in the middle of making a post yesterday and my phone went boom. Screen went off. Then up came the blue Facebook screen. And it reloaded Facebook. And I lost an entire page of post. Just disappeared. I think that was it. It's on my timeline now. I'm out of coffee. I'm out of patience. Bring me people. Bring me people who want a voice for medical marijuana across this country. And recreational. Because recreational affords people the opportunity to self-medicate when they can't afford to see a doctor. Because cannabis is the single safest substance Mother Nature has that can do so much good and has so few negative properties. Dry mouth, dry eyes, hungry, couch lock. Not one of them ever kills you. No deaths. There is at least one recorded death from Kratom, but like I said, that was mixed with fentanyl and morphine and diphenhydramine and stuff. But that's just it. The market's not regulated. You don't know what you're buying from people. And like I said, they even say the time of the harvest. You can harvest half a tree today and the other half of the tree tomorrow, and the leaves will be different. The actions will be different. The effects will be different. So many surprising twists and turns that you won't know until you turn the corner and boom, run into the wall and find yourself waking up 12 hours later from a little cup of tea you thought should have just given you an uplift, but it knocked you out like morphine. When that happens, then maybe you'll agree with me. But I'm just saying, I don't believe in Kratom. I don't want it on my groups. Take it elsewhere. That's all. And as far as joining my groups, fine. Bring me people who are going to be friends. Okay? Yeah, I'm not mad at at the person who brought me the Kratom person. I'm not mad at you. You tried. I tried talking to her. She just wouldn't listen, and she was too opinionated and too abusive. Okay? I don't deserve to sit here and be abused when I'm doing this for free. I have my weed. I have my card. I have my morphine. I don't have to do these. Yet I'm doing them. Why? For you. Even the president and Governor Doug Ducey, I'm doing this for you because you guys have no freaking idea of the potential of industrial hemp alone. And then medicinal hemp. And then cannabis. It's just, prohibition is beyond ridiculous. The schedule of narcotics is ridiculous. If you won't put Kratom up there with its opiate profile, but you'll put cannabis there with its hydrocarbon profile. Something's not right. Okay? Let's get it right, Mr. President, and governors and state legislatures and everything. Free marijuana from the prison of ignorance. Thank you. Positive healing vibes from the universe, my friends. Peace out.